The richest man just ate a mouthful of fried noodles, but it feels very familiar. Just because this tastes the same as my dead wife's cooking. When he was young, his wife often fried noodles for him to eat. Every time after eating, he encouraged his wife to set up a stall to sell fried noodles. So I asked the boy curiously where he learned his craft. The boy said frankly that his mother taught him. The richest man excitedly asked his mother's name and whether he had a photo. It turned out that 18 years ago, the richest man decided to work abroad to make money. So before leaving, he seriously told his eldest son, let him take good care of his mother and brother. And he also became the richest man in the world through his own efforts. During this period, I will send 350,000 yuan for living expenses to my family. But little did he know that his eldest son was an ungrateful person. Not only did he and his wife embezzle all the money and live in a luxurious villa, he also lied to his mother and brother that his father had died abroad. Not only did he refuse to pay for his brother's college tuition and mother's medical expenses, he even kicked his seriously ill mother and younger brother out of the house. Unexpectedly, my father suddenly returned home that day, but when he looked at his father's plain clothes, I mistakenly thought that my father came to him because he was bankrupt. But in order to squeeze out the remaining value of my father, he pretended to be enthusiastic and invited his father home. Unexpectedly, as soon as my father came in, the eldest son concealed the truth. They lied that they died in a car accident. The father was heartbroken upon hearing this. I want to visit them at the cemetery. The daughter-in-law urged her father to take a good rest on the grounds that he was tired from traveling. I'll go visit him the next day. The richest man had no choice but to agree. But after he went to rest, the two immediately rummaged through their father's suitcase, but only a passbook with 1.2 million was found. The two mistakenly thought that this was their father's only remaining property. So I immediately kicked my father out of the house that night. The eldest son threatened to sever the father-son relationship with him, and asked him not to bother himself again in the future. The sad rich man wandered helplessly on the street. I accidentally saw a boy selling fried noodles on the roadside and felt very close to him. I ordered some fried noodles but it tasted familiar, so he asked the boy's mother's name and photo, but the boy said there are few photos of his mother. There is only one family photo at home. Then the boy learned that the old customer had overpaid. I'm going to return the extra money. The old customer learned that the boy's mother was seriously ill and needed money urgently, but the boy insisted on returning it. The old customer left immediately after seeing this. The man asked the boy if he had dropped out of school. The boy said that he was working part-time to earn money for his studies, just to raise the high medical expenses for my mother. After explaining, he turned around and continued to work. Unexpectedly, the richest man gave him 60,000. When the boy found out, he prepared to return it to the richest man. Unexpectedly, the richest man was moved by the boy's filial piety. He also suggested that the boy accompany him to various cemeteries to look for relatives when he has time. The boy agreed immediately after hearing this. Then he knelt down to thank the man for the loan. But the mother was worried that her son would use the money to treat her. Only after the boy's repeated assurances did his mother feel at ease to undergo the surgery. The next day, the richest man wanted to find his eldest son to ask where his wife and children were buried. Unexpectedly, he was blocked outside the door by his in-laws and verbally insulted. Therefore, the richest man can only wait at the door for his eldest son to come home. At this time, he learned from his assistant that someone wanted to cooperate with him, but the richest man only wants to go to worship his wife and children. So I decisively asked him to cancel all appointments. Not long after, the eldest son came back in the car, but he learned that the richest man did not want to meet him because he was visiting relatives, and repeatedly asked the other party to connect again. The richest man saw his eldest son coming back and rushed forward to ask where his wife and children were buried, but he was pushed to the ground by his son impatiently and said bad words to him. The richest man also saw the true face of his eldest son. He decided to take back the trillion-dollar company shares he had given him. When he accidentally walked to the boy's stall again, the boy immediately prepared food for him. Thank you for the loan for the surgery and promised to return the loan quickly. The richest man always feels familiar when looking at the boy, and he is the same age as his youngest son. He asked about his father's identity. At this time, the boy recalled what his mother told him. Due to the special nature of my father's work, it must be kept confidential. So the boy lied that his father was an ordinary worker. The richest man was very disappointed after hearing the news. That day, the richest man learned from his assistant. The person who wants to see him is the eldest son. The richest man told his assistant to refuse any cooperation with his eldest son. At this time the boy came to pick him up as agreed. So he took the richest man to various cemeteries to inquire about the information of his wife and children, but there was no news of them throughout the day. The richest man then approached his eldest son again to inquire about the news, but his daughter-in-law said that she would only tell him the news if he paid 2 million. The richest man said that as long as they went with him to worship his wife and children, he can help his eldest son get in touch with the richest man. The eldest son was very angry when he heard this. How did the rich man know his needs, so he pushed down the richest man, and I disdain to think that the richest man is making up lies. After beating him up, he left. The richest man was completely disappointed and cried bitterly, and called the boy to take him to the hospital for treatment. After the woman learned that it was her benefactor's call, he urged his son to go immediately. When the boy sent the richest man to the hospital for treatment, the mother also learned that the benefactor was in the same hospital as herself, so she asked her son to take her to thank the benefactor. But when she opened the door, she was shocked.